If you're seeing me, my name is Fred. I'm the director of guest programs here at Liberty Science Center. The reason why you're seeing me is because it must be 11 a.m. on Wednesday here in Jersey City, New Jersey, at the Liberty Science Center, and it is time for our animal update. Depeche is giving me a signal. We're good? All right, we're all right. As always, of course, for those who visit us every week, behind the camera is Depeche.
Hello.
And as per usual, not always, but usual, joining us first thing is our green-winged macaw, Mickey. And we know that everyone didn't get a chance to see Mickey last week, so we didn't want you to have to go more than 2 weeks without seeing Mickey. And he misses all of you too. He loves doing the animal updates. So we have him up here today, even though for the rest of our animal update, after we spend a little bit of time with Mickey, we're going to be visiting some of our marine animal friends today. So of course, as always, tell us you're out there. Do we have people joining us?
Yep, we're getting some comments in. People are saying hello. Jennifer from Old Bridge, Reno and Nico from Garfield. Yeah, Carol is watching.
Let us know where, say hello, let us know where you're from. We're going to take a few minutes to let everyone get here and get ready to hang out with us. And you know what, every single week, we always ask everybody where you're from, and we love hearing that. How about for this week, I want everyone to also tell us your favorite animal movie. Your favorite movie that has animals as main characters in your movie.
That's a good one.
When I was young, I'm going to age myself here. One of my favorite movies was Homeward Bound, if there's anyone at home who remembers Homeward Bound.
Never heard of it.
No? Really? Depeche is not that much younger than me, but it was a movie with two talking dogs and a talking cat who get lost in the forest but are able to make their way back to their family. It pulls on the heartstrings. Highly recommend it. The dogs' names are Chance and Shadow, and then Chance is played by Michael J. Fox.
Oh,
and then
wow.
The cat was named Sassy. Sassy the cat.
Sassy the cat.
Sassy the cat.
Mickey should be called, have a nickname Sassy as well.
Well, that'll have to be a question for another one of our animal updates. He prefers Mickey, so we'll go with Mickey for now. But tell us your favorite movie.
Zootopia.
Zootopia. I know that was a more recent one. I have not seen that one. The problem with asking this question is we're once again going to reveal how few movies Depeche and I have watched.
Disney
We did this with the Star Wars
movies
weeks ago. So we're once again going to showcase how few movies we've seen, despite all the Netflix we could have been watching.
Madagascar, Secret Life of Pets.
I've actually seen Madagascar. Madagascar's fun. The penguins are really funny in Madagascar.
Lassie.
I've actually seen.
Shark Tale.
I've not seen Shark Tale.
You haven't seen Shark Tale? Okay, even I've seen Shark Tale.
Secret Life of Pets.
Penguins, Disney's Nature's Penguins. I've seen that one. That one's good. Charlotte's Web and Sing.
Charlotte's Web. So I'm not sure I've seen Charlotte's Web, but when I was
The Lion King.
Long ago, back in the day, I've read Charlotte's Web back when I was in school.
Interesting. And Mickey doesn't seem to care about the movies, though.
No, well, actually, Mickey does watch movies.
Does he?
Sometimes. Yeah, he does.
Nice.
As one of the
He's making a mess again.
What?
He's making a mess again.
Oh, he is making a mess again.
Yep, Mickey, that's you.
We may have to activate Poop Cam
Yeah.
today. I don't think we got a chance
We
to
didn't get to
activate
see
Poop
Poop
Cam
Cam.
last
Rio.
week.
Did you watch Rio? Rio is nice.
I have not seen Rio.
Rio is fun.
That's with parrots, right?
Yeah.
So that's with
See?
parrots, just like Mickey.
Mickey looked at it too. Mickey's getting excited.
He's a type of parrot macaw, and he's from South America, which I imagine is where that movie takes place. Like
Brazil, yep.
So he's from northern and central parts of South America, where he lives in forests. He's a green-winged macaw, so he's the second largest type of macaw, second only to the hyacinth macaw. And he does watch movies. He watches movies sometimes if our animal keepers, our animal husbandry staff are going about their day doing some work, and just to give him some audio and visual stimuli. He also really loves listening to music. He's a big fan
Oh, wow.
of listening to music.
Maybe you can play some music next time. Maybe you can sing for him, Fred.
So, yeah, thanks for putting me out there. So I am a horrible singer. Pesh knows this because I actually we've done karaoke together.
Make Fred sing. Make Fred sing.
I'm not gonna sing. You guys can beg all day. I'm not singing. I actually want people to stay on this show. I don't want them to leave. So Pesh is also a pretty terrible singer, but I have to say I think you're better than I am.
I mean, I'm behind the cameras. I don't count.
Yeah, you're a little bit better singer than I am. My voice is not even as pleasant as Mickey's screaming. I don't think. I think that's probably better.
They're saying Mickey is basically a human.
Well, he certainly he's able to repeat several sounds that humans make, so he can say a few words. He's very intelligent, like a person might be.
Make Fred sing. They're chanting it.
They can chant, guys. I'm telling you right now, you can chant for the next 45 minutes. I am not. But this goes out to the world. This gets printed, put out, is there forever. I am not singing, so it is not going to happen. But I appreciate the peer pressure and Depeche putting me on the spot like that. That was fantastic. So thank you so much.
Anytime. They're going at it. Everyone's going at it.
I have no doubt. I can't see what they're saying, but I have no doubt they are being insistent. But it's not going to happen.
Hey, someone likes your shirt.
They like the shirt. That's good. I wear the same. Well, not the literal same exact shirt, but the shirt of this design every single animal update. So, yeah, this is a fantastic shirt. Little bit of a space motif.
So someone is asking a question about Mickey. Why are the feathers so colorful?
So, that's a great question. So you might think that having bright colors like that would really stand out, but for green-winged macaw, having bright colors is actually a type of camouflage. They come from the rainforest where there's bright leaves and bright fruits and bright colors. So the colors, the bright colors of his feathers actually helps him camouflage from predators in the rainforest. And Depeche is just cackling laughing.
Yeah, because they're still chanting.
I don't know what these guys, what everybody's saying.
They still want you to sing.
I'm going to remind, so for everybody, I think most people know by now that Depeche actually does our trivia every Thursday evening and Friday morning. So be prepared because I will be signing on tomorrow and I will get everyone riled up to get you to sing during your trivia. Can we say that you're going to sing for us during trivia?
No, not really.
All right, I'm going to return the favor for sure tomorrow.
Does Mickey ever fly away?
He doesn't. So he really enjoys being on his perches, which is why we always have him usually on a perch. Or sometimes you see a member of our animal husbandry staff, like Heidi or Nicole, have him on their arm. He kind of really prefers that. He's not real comfortable flying around. Actually, I don't know why that made me remember it, but let's see. I know I wrote it down. So I know last week we were talking about our snake skeleton, right?
Yeah.
And we've been talking for weeks now about how many ribs our snake skeleton has. So I went and actually counted how many ribs our snake has. So I know we had asked for people throwing their guesses. No one actually got the answer. The answer is 264 ribs. So there were 264 ribs.
264 ribs.
From next week.
Wow.
He is very focused on me right now. Hello. I know. I think did you miss us? Or he's joining, or that's his look of like, will you just sing already?
Yeah, can you just sing? Can you just sing now?
I'm not going to. It's not
Now they're writing sing in capital letters.
I am impervious to the peer pressure, especially when I can't see it or read it or hear it. It is easy to resist.
So what's he eating?
I'm not sure what he's eating. It looks like
I saw fruit earlier.
Yeah, it looks like maybe some kind of melon or something. So they give him different fruits. He loves eating nuts. His beak is so powerful he can easily crunch through those nuts. He's got about 2,000 pounds per square inch bite force, 2,000 psi. So, and you can see how quickly he's just going right through all of that wood.
Mm-hmm.
And those are enrichment items for him that just kind of give him some entertainment of sorts, right? Make him work his beak, make him work his mind. And you can see how easily he destroys that wood.
All right.
Maybe one last. Do we have any more actual questions about Mickey rather than people just yelling about
No,
singing?
no, they all just want you to sing.
They can keep asking.
They're just saying, you know, you can just belt like one little line. I mean,
I could, but I'm not going to.
oh man.
I'm a man of my word.
Everybody, I will not give up. I am going to make him sing on camera.
Depeche also knows he's promising something he cannot deliver. So, I think we're probably good on Mickey, right?
Yeah.
Anyone, any more questions on Mickey? All right. So we're going to say goodbye to Mickey. And for everybody who was here last week knows that today we are going to
He's
be
39.
What's up?
Someone asked how old is he, and I know he's 39.
39 years old. His birthday is in 1981.
Yeah.
So he's actually the old man here out of the three of us. And he will live to be about 60 though. So he's got a long, long life ahead of him. He is 39. So today we're back. We're not in our usual spot down in our Eat and Eat and Animal Gallery. We're upstairs in our aquarium gallery called Our Hudson Home. We were here a few weeks ago checking out some of our fish. Today we're going to check out some of our marine invertebrates. So we're gonna take a quick 180-degree spin.
And in the process, you can see New York City. Look at that, just a view of New York City. Oh, he doesn't like the fact that we left him. That's New York City. And we are now back in our tank.
Yeah, we're seeing Mickey doing his vocal warm-ups for us in the background. I'm sure everybody can hear. So we'll give Mickey a second. He's doing his cackling and I think he's singing for us. Does that count?
I mean, no, it doesn't really count.
We'll give Mickey one more second. All right. So we're going to be checking out some of our marine invertebrates today in our observation tank. This is where we do our touch tank during normal times. And visit some of our marine invertebrate friends. So,
Whoa.
in this floating tray here, I have some animals that are actually all related, and at first glance they might not look related. Ignoring the shell here, that's not related. But our two sea urchins and our sea star are close relatives, and they're animals called echinoderms. Echinoderms, which is in Latin means spiny skin, and we can see very obviously where that name comes from on our sea urchins, right? Because they have these spines here, some sharper than others. This is two different types of sea urchin. This one here is called a slate pencil sea urchin, and they're actually the only animal I'm going to show you today that's really not native. They're more southern United States, Gulf Coast. But sea urchins you could find around here would be like this one here. This is called a purple sea urchin.
So that's slate pencil and that's purple.
And purple sea urchin. So purple is easy to remember, right? Because he's pretty obviously purple. And right now they're clinging to an oyster shell, which is not an echinoderm. But we have our two echinoderms, and that's not as obvious on our sea star, but a sea star is an echinoderm as well. One really neat thing about echinoderms is they have radial symmetry. Okay. So they're the way that you can kind of think of their bodies being divided up, and they're usually divided up in fives. So for our sea star, that's really easy to see, right? So we can count up how many arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Not every sea star has 5 arms, but a lot of times, if they have more than that, they're still in 5. So you might have a sea star with 10 arms, 15 arms, 20 arms. It's harder to see with our urchins because they have way more than 5 spines, right? But I think with our purple sea urchin, you can see on the top that they have rows of tube feet.
Yeah.
And you can see how they're divided up. See that little
into 5 sections, yeah.
That 5-section pattern and how their bodies, and you can actually see some of their little tube feet. See, it looks like tentacles coming out. I'm not sure how well you can see on the iPad.
See them now.
I've got it kind of on my fingernail there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just barely.
Yeah, they're like almost like little hairs, and those are their little suction feet. And of course, everybody knows or thinks of sea stars as having suction feet, but that's how sea urchins move around too, and they're actually reacting quite a bit. You can see when I put my finger, that our purple sea urchin starts moving his spines towards my finger because he thinks He thinks I could be a predator. So he's not moving very fast, but he's able to move his spines.
So we're getting a couple of questions. So do they have mouths, and does it hurt when you touch them? Does it hurt them when you touch them?
Oh no, I'm being very, very gentle when I'm touching them. I'm absolutely not putting any pressure or hurting them at all. As far as they have mouths, they do. So for the urchins, their mouths are on their bottom, so we can't see them right now. It's almost the opposite of how you'd think. So their mouths are on their bottom, and the out is up top. So the sea urchin butt, or equivalent, is at the top.
Okay.
And their mouths are made up of a series of teeth, like things that kind of just grind along as they go. So, and how many teeth do you think a sea urchin has?
I would guess 5.
5. That's a great guess. And in fact, it's 100% right. So the magic number on echinoderms is 5, and they have 5 teeth.
Okay.
And they use those to kind of grind along as they go because they like to eat things like algae. So they can pull that algae off as they go. They crawl along. They also like detritus. Maybe they find something that's deceased. They'll certainly try and eat that as well.
So,
but go ahead.
Yeah, so that was the big question. Like, do they have predators, and what do they prey on?
Oh, sure. They definitely have predators. Even though they have these spines, there are plenty of different species of fish that have adapted to be able to either nibble those off or get through them. And for a lot of echinoderms, crabs can be a major predator too, especially some of the larger crabs like a blue claw crab with very powerful pinchers. But echinoderms also have an amazing ability of regeneration. So if our sea urchins were to lose a couple spines, they can grow them back.
Oh, that's cool.
Maybe most impressive is our sea star, because our sea star can definitely grow back an arm, and actually can grow back multiple arms.
Very cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So as long as there's parts of the central body here remaining, they can basically regenerate almost their entire body.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really amazing at regeneration, and their mouths are also
on the bottom.
At the bottom, and they like to eat. Let's see if we can find some popular sea star food, or things like this, a clam. And anyone who's ever, so obviously this one's not alive, but anyone who's ever held a live clam and tried to open it, it's really hard, right? In fact, for a human, it's impossible unless you have a tool. But sea stars are so strong they can actually pull open clamshells.
Okay.
That is how powerful they are. Even a 3-inch long, 3-inch wide sea star can exert about 12 pounds of force, and they pull that shell open, but they only have to get it open 1 millimeter. Because once it's open 1 millimeter,
they can grab
what they
everything.
do is they take their stomach, it comes out of their body,
Their stomach.
and they put it in the clamshell.
Okay.
The stomach then releases all kinds of digestive juices and enzymes and dissolves the clam. And then once they're done eating, they pull their stomach back into their body.
Wow.
So
they're digesting before it even.
Yeah, so it'd be like if you were sitting at the dinner table and you had a plate of food, and rather than putting in your mouth, you took your stomach out, put it on the plate of the food, waited for your stomach to eat it all, and then just put your full stomach back in your body. That's pretty much what they do.
Wow.
Really amazing.
So, 2 questions. 1, do they have eyes? And 2, you're being very careful to say sea star. Why aren't you saying starfish?
We have some great questions today. What an inquisitive group we have today. So I'll do them backwards. So the official name is sea stars. They are not starfish. I know people have been calling them starfish forever. They are not fish. We now know they're echinoderms. Starfish is an old term that people really try not to use anymore. So they are sea stars. As far as eyes, so you'll see right here, that big spot.
Yeah.
And for most people, they look at that and they say, that's the eye. That is not an eye. We'll come back to that, but that is not, when you see a sea star, that spot there is not an eye. But they do have eyes on the tip, and you're not going to really be able to see it, but on the tip of each arm is a tiny eye spot. And that is what they use. They don't have really excellent eyesight. but they do have little eye spots on the tip of every arm. Now, let's go back to that thing there, because that looks like it would be the eye, right?
Yeah.
And that's something called we got to have a lot of vocab words today. So that's called the madroporite.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Madroporite. There we go. We're gonna Marine Bio 101 today. Madroporite. So that's the big fancy name for it. But let me just tell you what it does is they don't have blood like we do.
Okay.
They use water to basically circulate things through their bodies, and also to be able to move and exert pressure on their tube feet. That's how they are able to do a lot of the things they do. And that's essentially a filter. It's a sieve. So that is where water goes in and out of their body.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
That is how they're able to regulate or control the amount of water in their body, is through that little spot. They cannot see out of it. That is not an eye.
Interesting.
No.
So we're getting, how big do they grow up to, and how old they live?
So I can't speak to how long they live. They can be fairly long-lived animals, especially with how their amazing abilities of regeneration. This is a common sea star, so this would be definitely a species you could find around here. We have a lot of different species of sea stars you can find around here, though. And this is about full grown. They can get to be about a foot long, which is about where we are with our common sea star.
So if you had to put your hand next to it, like, yeah, it's about just bigger than your hand, right?
Yeah, this one is bigger than my hand. We have another one over here that's a little bit smaller. But that one's bigger than my hand.
So I see these like really, like they're like transparent. They're like the feet, right? The tube feet that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. Do they hurt when you hold them, or when they hold you, or? No,
they don't hurt. In fact, they're very delicate. So whenever I pick up my sea star, I give them a little wiggle. So I'll get him upside down a bit so you can see his tube feet. So if I just went and picked him up real quick, you could rip off a lot of their tube feet. So we don't want to do that. So you got to give them a little bit of a wiggle. But we are going to keep them in the water.
Whoa!
And you can see all those little tube feet. And right now, a lot of them are pushed up, but you'll see them start to stick out.
Yeah, now they're sticking out. Yeah.
And in the middle is that mouth.
That's the mouth right there in the middle.
And they're sticky, but they're not. They can't hurt you. In fact, I'm the opposite. I'm trying to make sure. He has thousands and thousands of tube feet, so and they grow back really easily. But we still don't want to accidentally.
And they're
rip
not
any
venomous
of them off.
or anything.
No, this is not a dangerous species at all. He's completely harmless. Cannot hurt you.
How do they defend themselves against predators?
So their defense is, in a lot of ways, their regeneration. The fact that, say a hungry predator came along and bit off his arm. Well, that predator is probably full now and is happy because he got his meal. For our sea star, probably, losing an arm's not the best thing in the world, but he just grows it back.
That's cool.
And to be honest, they're not really thinking about it because sea stars don't have brains.
Wow.
Or even central nervous systems. So he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any thoughts on the subject.
Interesting.
Because he doesn't have a brain.
That's really cool. So, do they lay eggs, or do they just have live babies?
No. So they do. They don't lay eggs though. They release them. There's something called a broadcast breeder. Urchins are big on that too, and they basically just kind of shoot all the eggs and stuff out into the water.
And that's it?
They hope that a certain percentage of them get fertilized, and then they turn into little larvae, and then they eventually drop to the ground, and you get more echinoderms.
Interesting. Do they are they warm-blooded or cold-blooded?
So warm-blooded means that's a loaded question, Depeche, because they technically don't have blood. They don't have blood, but really when you talk about warm-blooded, cold-blooded, you're not really talking about blood. You're talking about, can they control their own body temperature, right?
Yes.
So they definitely can. So they would be, I guess by that term, cold-blooded. They're not like us where they can generate their own body temperature. I got to tell you though, they can really. They're from the Northeast, so they can. They're in our oceans during the winter, and this is a bit of an endurance test for me because I got to tell you, this water is not warm.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
This
how.
water is not warm.
How
It's
cold
about
is it?
60 degrees.
60 degrees.
So I will be pruned up pretty good by the end of this.
Nice.
They have no problem with that at all. Do we have any other thoughts on our Echinoderm? We've got plenty of other animals. Why don't we?
We can move on
give
to
a
the
quick
next one.
last look here, and we're gonna.
So
conveyor
we
belt
had
here.
we had a little friend that just kept popping in and out. We get to him later.
All right. And here's
Whoa! Whoa!
our next group of animals.
We have some. Look at this guy.
We got this guy here. This is since he's gonna get a lot of the attention here. We'll start with him.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get his foot out here. So he is of course a hermit crab.
Hermit crab.
And he's called a flat-clawed hermit crab. He's pretty active, so I bet he'll come right back out for us there. And flat-clawed hermit crabs are the largest species of hermit crab we have native to this area.
There he is.
And he's the largest one we have here. He's a full-grown, flat-clawed hermit crab. And of course, those people know that hermit crabs have really soft bodies, so they have to go and find empty shells to go occupy. So the shell he's in is from an animal called a moon snail. So obviously that moon snail is no longer alive. He found that empty shell. It's perfect size for him, and he has taken over.
And he just carries it with him.
He just carries it with him. He's got little kind of hook-like legs down his body that he uses to hold on. So, if you ever were to, and don't do this, but if you were to try and pull a hermit crab out of their shell, good luck. That's not something that's is easy to do at all.
A lot of people are talking about having hermit crabs as pets.
Yeah, a lot of people do keep them as pets. Probably not this species, right? Because a lot of the types of hermit crabs people keep are the ones that can live on dry land. So this is not a hermit crab that can live on dry land. He could certainly go on land for a short period of time, but he belongs in the ocean, so this is not one you would probably have as a pet. What's out of curiosity for our people at home who've had hermit crabs, what was the names of your pet hermit crabs?
There we go.
Let's get some good pet hermit crab names. And while we do, I'll show you one neat thing about our flat-clawed hermit crab. And when I turn him upside down, he's going to go into his shell. But you can see his claws there. And you can see the two claws are not the same.
Yeah, one's
right.
bigger, right?
One's way bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's even going to pop out for us.
Wow.
He is not a shy
No.
hermit crab at all. And you can even see a little bit of those back hook-like legs behind him. And that big, it's almost like he's got a Swiss Army knife. So that big claw there is for crushing. And that little claw is for more like scissors, like snipping. So it's like he's got a pair of pliers and a pair of scissors. And depending on what he needs, he uses the different claws. And they're pretty opportunistic feeders. They'll eat just about anything they find. They'll eat certainly some aquatic plant life, things like that, but also, of course, any deceased things, any quick meals he finds. They're big-time scavengers. You can see he's been very successful because he is a really big, full-grown flat-clawed hermit crab, and he really wants to go for a walk, so we're going to let him do that. Coral, very nice.
Joe, George, Turbo, Sergeant Pepper.
Sergeant Pepper, all right.
We're getting different ones. They were just moving so fast. I'm trying to catch up.
Sergeant Pepper. That's my favorite. And in here we also have, he's not alone, right? So these other shells don't have hermit crabs in them. These other shells have their original inhabitants. These are whelks. These are whelks, so they're basically big underwater snails is what they are. And we have two different kinds. This is a channeled whelk.
Okay.
This is a knobbed whelk.
They look the same to me.
So the knobbed whelk has kind of these bumps here. You can see he's got.
Oh, I see that.
Our hermit crab has decided he He really wants to. He's like the marine version of Mickey. He just wants to take over the show here. So he's just getting involved. So he's got these bumps here for our knobbed whelk, almost like little knobs. And our channel whelk, you can see, doesn't really have those. Our channel whelk also has. It might be hard to see, but almost like a channel. Yeah, a little channel around their shell. The knobbed whelk, quick, fun, fast fact, is actually this is the state shell of New Jersey.
Oh wow.
Is the knobbed whelk.
Hey, trivia for next week.
Trivia, there you go. Were you planning on doing snail trivia?
Snail trivia.
Snail trivia?
No, I can't come up with more than 5 questions about snails.
Well, snails are fantastic. Let's see if we can come up with more than 5 facts about our snails. So, they have a foot
Mr.
just
Crabs.
like any snail would.
Mumble. They're trying to name our crab.
Oh, they want to name? Save your names, because we're going to do our animal at the end. I want you guys to come up with some interesting names. So save your names for now.
Okay.
So here's our knobbed whelk. I'm going to turn him upside down so you can see that foot is starting to go into his shell.
Wow.
And actually here is his proboscis, and we're going to talk about that. And he's got a hard piece here, and that's called his operculum. That's basically his front door. So if he decides to go all into his shell, he can, and he closes his door. But I'm being fairly gentle with him, so he doesn't seem to want to completely go away.
That's cool.
And they're hunters. You don't think of snails as hunters, but these are powerful predators. Just like you wouldn't have thought maybe of a sea star as a powerful predator, but whelks also are. And what they do is they move along using their foot, and when you see a whelk, this is the back, the big kind of whirl-like part is the back, and this part's the front.
Okay.
And there's his proboscis, and he senses with that. And as they move along, they're sensing for food that's maybe under the sand, and they too like to eat these clams.
Wow, clams are a favorite food.
Clams, mussels, things like that. He doesn't have tube feet, so he can't pull it open like a sea star. What they do is they latch onto it with their foot. He takes the edge of his shell, which is very strong, and he kind of wedges it in here and pulls it open. Almost like an oyster shucker, if you've ever shucked an oyster. That's pretty much what how they open them. They have another trick too. If they say they come across something, maybe they want to eat a moon snail. They can't do that trick on a moon snail because a moon snail only has one shell, not two like a clam. On that proboscis, he has a little, almost like a drill. It's called a radula, but basically he drills a little hole.
Yeah.
And that's how they're able to get at their prey, by drilling. So if you're ever walking along the beach and you find a beautiful shell like this, and it's got a perfect little hole, or really a clam shell, any shell that's got a perfect little hole in it, you know that that animal met an untimely demise and was eaten
by a whelk.
By probably a whelk.
Wow. Look at how he's like
so you can
spread out.
See how his entire foot is now out, and you can see the tip of his proboscis is coming out. So he's using that to sense.
Oh wow! Oh, he's moving too.
Yeah, all right. It's pretty much at about full speed right now. I'll try and hold the tray really still so you can see him moving along. And they get quite a bit bigger. So they are the second largest whelk around here. They get to be about 9 inches long, so he's got a little ways to go. He'll get quite a bit bigger. The largest, for anyone wondering, is the lightning whelk. We don't have any lightning whelks today.
Do they move faster than the
No,
whelk?
they get that name because they have almost like lightning-looking streaks on their bodies, but they're not necessarily fast. Yeah, I have another whelk item I could show you. So, who's ever gone to the beach and seen these laying on the beach? And a lot of people like to, wear them, or sometimes they sell them as mermaid's necklaces, right? So this is a whelk egg case. This is where baby whelks come from.
What?
So this is actually the egg case from a lightning whelk, but these whelks would create ones very similar to this. And each one of these they almost look like little potato chips.
Yeah.
Each one of those is an egg case, and inside each, you can have up to 100 baby whelks.
What?
And
That's a lot of eggs.
They slowly grow up in here till they reach a certain size, and then there's little holes at the bottom, and then when they're ready, they come out. So if you've ever seen these on the beach, this is a whelk egg case.
Whelk egg case.
That's from a whelk.
We're getting our whelks cannibals. Do they eat their own?
Are they cannibals? You know, I have not read anywhere that they eat other whelks. They are very powerful predators. I'm not so sure they wouldn't eat maybe a smaller of a different species of whelk, but I personally have not read that, so I'm not sure if that's true or not. They love to eat clams is a favorite. Let's see if we can find some other. Let's get.
Oh, we should have a graphic for mind blown moments.
We've got mussels.
The mind blown moments was the egg case.
Has everyone's seen a lot of them have seen those on the beach and had no idea what they were, right?
Yep, now they do.
Now you know.
Don't say we didn't give you anything.
Yes. What have we been doing? 2 months in.
Yeah.
Everyone's learned something. Got another moon snail shell. This one's not occupied by. The moon snails are actually really strong predators. This one's not alive, but are actually also very powerful predators. And a lot of times, if you sometimes see clams with perfect little holes in it, that's usually from moon snails. So anytime you see a shell that has a perfect hole that's like, hey, look, this is perfect for a necklace. It's like, how did this amazing perfect hole get on this clam shell?
Yeah.
It's because a snail came along and ate that clam. That's exactly what happened.
So,
to that clam.
If you put that shell in front of that hermit crab, will we see shifting of houses?
So I highly doubt it because he lives in here. So he's grown up in here. He's definitely seen the shell before because he crawls around in this tank all day long. So at some point he has chosen this one. I mean, we can leave it here. But I really don't think so. I don't think.
What's a proboscis?
Proboscis is just their organ for sensing. So I wouldn't. For some people, they use the word proboscis like for nose, and sometimes I wouldn't really call it the whelk's nose, but they use it to smell, sense. It's also where they keep that little Radial rasping tool for drilling holes is also in their proboscis.
Okay, that's cool.
Have any other fun questions about our whelks here? All right, let's clear the deck. So we're gonna put back some of our shells. As you can see inside our tank here, we have lots of other.
Yeah, we have some
a bunch
really
of fish
cool
in there.
things.
Looks
Some
like
fish.
Got some silver sides.
We're not done yet.
Done yet.
We have a couple more animals to see.
Let's see if we can get our whelks out of here. So our whelks.
So is there a technique?
So there's my patented tickling technique.
Okay.
To get the whelks. Again, I don't want to just force him up. He's using his foot right now to stick. So I kind of tickle him, like not tickle.
Yeah,
he's not actually ticklish.
You're just kind of like rubbing.
Yeah, I'm very gently rubbing them, and that tends to get them to release because I don't want to hurt him, but I want to also make sure I get him back into his main tank here, which is of course where he wants to be. So you can't see, but I'm reaching underneath and his foot's out there, and I'm just kind of tickling him. He does not seem to want to go right now. Let's tickle. Let's get this one here. Oh, that one.
Oh, this one. He wants to go back in.
Yep. And we don't just drop them in. We'll lower all the way to the bottom. He's got that very strong shell. I'm sure it wouldn't hurt at all, but we just, of course, want to be very careful with all of our animals.
People want to know that when we reopen, can they touch all these animals?
So,
oh,
there you go. Our channeled whelk. You can see it looks very similar. He's closing that operculum, that door. So these are animals from our touch tank that most people usually are able to come here and touch. I've got to say, when we first reopened, I'm not sure. You know, it's with the COVID crisis going on right now, we'll certainly be thinking about that. But I know some people are maybe not looking to touch things that lots of other people are touching. It might not be a good time for that. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll tell you that at some point in the future, certainly our touch tank animals will be available again. I can't tell you that will be day one, but certainly we'll be able to do that again at some point. All right, let's get our next animal.
Whoa!
All right, we have our horseshoe crab, and we've got to give him his own.
That's
first, before
cool.
I call him a he, let's see if it's a he or a she. It is a he, and I'll show you in a second how I can quickly tell. We got to give him his own tray by himself because he's a bit of a bulldozer, so we don't want him bulldozing our other animals here without any sand or rocks for them to kind of latch onto. And he is a horseshoe crab. And anyone who's been to the beach around here, or really up and down the East Coast, I'm sure has at some point come across horseshoe crabs, or maybe you've come across this, right? So lots of people find these on the beach, and it's a dead horseshoe crab, right? Well, if you pick up one of these and it's really light, like there's nothing to this. This weighs way less than 1 pound. This is a molt. So you can see along the edge here where it actually split open. We could be a little rough with this because it's not alive. It's split open, and the horseshoe crab crawled out of there because he had a new shell.
What? Oh, so that's real.
Oh yeah, this is real. So if you ever see any of these and they're really light, it's not a dead horseshoe crab. In fact, it's a healthy horseshoe crab who outgrew his old shell, came out, has a new shell.
Whoa.
And they have to do that 18 times just to become adults.
18 times.
18 times just to reach adulthood.
So on their 18th birthday, they're adults.
Yes. Well, it's not necessarily by year.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work quite that way. But it takes 18 of those in order to reach adulthood. So this is a male, and he's probably about full grown because the males don't get nearly as... If you ever see a really big horseshoe crab...
Whoa.
Here, let's actually give him a little bit more space here.
There you go.
So, if you ever see a really big one, those are the females. So the females can get to be almost like 2 feet long, 1 foot wide, really, really big. So the males don't get as big. The reason why the females get so big, or one of the reasons, is they're the ones who lay the eggs. And the bigger you are, the more eggs you can lay. And they can lay up to 20,000 eggs. So our horseshoe crab here, not only can we tell from his size, he could also just be a small female, but his arms here, his legs, you see how they're hooks? He's got like a little hook there that are different than his other legs. Only the boys have that. So we know he's a male because only the boys have them, and the reason why they have them is they're the kind of loafers. So when he finds a girl and it's time to lay eggs, what he does is he uses those and latches onto her shell, and then she drags him around.
Oh, wow.
And he will hold on to her until they lay their eggs. So that's why the boys have those and the girls don't. And then he's got 3 pairs of these more classic-looking pincher, crab pincher type. And he's pinching me right now. They're not really strong at all. Horseshoe crabs cannot hurt you at all.
Oh, that's good.
Not hurt you at all. So, and we'll explain even more about that. And these back legs are like these pusher legs. And you can see he's using those, almost trying to push. And they use those for digging.
Okay.
So they dig into the sand with those, and they love to hang out underneath the sand.
So why do they need shells?
So the shells protect them. So they're otherwise they'd have very soft bodies. So those shells are a good protection from them. But you know, this is a horseshoe crab, but that's a complete misnomer because horseshoe crabs are not crabs. They're not related to crabs really at all.
Oh.
They're more closely related to spiders and scorpions. And you can almost think of he's got this long telson.
Yeah, that's another question people are asking.
Yeah, you might think, well, that's what he uses to sting with, right?
Yeah.
Or he uses that to stab, or it's completely not what they use it for. You know what they use it for? and what he's trying to use it for right now, when they get flipped upside down, they spin that around to flip them right side up.
That's it?
That is it. That's all they use that for. So he's just using that as a way to flip himself
there we go.
back over. That's all that's for. So they do not use that as a weapon. They don't use that to sting. They don't use that to stab. They use it just to flip themselves back over.
So people are saying, a lot of people are saying prehistoric, this is a prehistoric creature. What is going on with that?
Okay, so they're right. A lot of times people call horseshoe crabs living fossils because they've been around so long. Horseshoe crabs like this, or close relatives like this, have been around for about 450 million years. 450 million. So that's a really big number. Let me tell everyone at home, though, give that some context. That means the first horseshoe crabs appeared 200 million years before the first dinosaur. So you think of dinosaurs being a long time ago. Imagine being almost twice as long ago as dinosaurs. That's when the first horseshoe crabs.
And they were always this size?
No,
like they were not bigger? Or?
So I want to make sure everyone. It was not exactly this species hasn't been around for 450 million years, but very close relatives. In fact, the fossils from then even look very similar to this, but different sizes. Through the 450 million years, there have been many different types of species of horseshoe crab. Today, there's four. There's four different types. One in the Atlantic Ocean, which is this. And then there are three others in the Indo-Pacific Ocean, around like Indonesia type area.
Where are their eyes?
Where are their eyes? So
is it like these things look like eyes?
So it's almost like for the horseshoe crab, it's almost like where aren't their eyes?
Oh.
So they have, let's count. They have 2 compound eyes.
Oh, so those are eyes.
Those are eyes.
Oh, okay.
So those are compound eyes. And by compound, they have lots of little lenses. So when people think of
like insects,
like an insect, like a fly, those are eyes like that. And those eyes can actually see in color.
Oh, nice.
Up front, it almost looks like he's got a little nose.
Yeah.
Those are eyes. There's a pair of simple eyes. So simple eyes means they only have one lens. And he then has along the back of it, mostly towards the back of his body, 6 photoreceptors that sense light. So our horseshoe crab actually has a lot of different ways of visually sensing the world around them.
So they're saying spiders are from the arachnid family. Are horseshoe crabs, since they're related to spiders, are they from the arachnid
So
family?
they're not technically arachnids, but their group is close to the arachnids.
Right.
But they are not arachnids. But they're not crustaceans like a crab is.
And all these animals are found in the Hudson River?
Yeah,
Or
or in the New York, New Jersey harbor area. And actually, now's the time to go see the horseshoe crabs. I know some of the beaches and parks are opening. If anyone goes out, continue to please be safe. But April, May, June is the time that the horseshoe crabs are breeding around here.
Oh, so they're out.
So now's the time you would most likely see them. If you do, just make sure you leave them alone. You want to make sure that they're allowing them to breed. The reason why they're along the beach is they're here to lay their eggs. And unfortunately, we have to really be careful with that because the horseshoe crab numbers are really declining, which is a big problem. A lot of it's because of beachside development, and a lot of the places they like to lay their eggs also happen to be the places people like to build houses, hotels, and highways. So a lot of their breeding habitat has been destroyed. And that's not just a problem for them. There are a lot of animals that rely on horseshoe crab eggs for food.
Right.
So migratory birds actually time their migrations to stop here during the time that the horseshoe crabs are laying their eggs. That's where they get a lot of their fuel to finish their journey. And there's a famous case, a bird called the red knot, that's now endangered for exactly that reason. And without that fuel, they can't finish their journey and do their breeding. So you can see that when you affect one animal, it dominoes down the food chain, and you're actually affecting a lot of animals.
All right. So I think we have one more question and we can call it. People want to know, what do they eat? And how do they eat?
That's a great question. Actually, I wanted to talk about that. So, they like to eat marine worms and mollusks and things like that, and they kind of plow along with the front of their shell.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they find them, they grab them with their feet, and then their mouth is in the middle.
Oh.
And you can see these little comb-like appendages.
Uh-huh.
Those are called gnathobases, and they're that's what they use to chew with. So they'll stick their foot in there, and they kind of rub their legs together. It's almost like if you had your teeth on your elbows and rubbed your elbows together to chew your food, and then dropped it into your mouth, and that is where their mouth is. And you can see I could put they're completely harmless. So I really don't want people to ever be afraid of horseshoe crabs. I know they're really gnarly looking, prehistoric. They've got this long telson. They've got all these legs. They're completely harmless. You can see he's completely unable to hurt me. But of course, if you ever do see any horseshoe crabs, you could take a look at them. It's always good to explore the world around you. Just make sure you're very gentle and leave them back where you found them. And here you could also see the gills.
Oh yeah, those are the gills.
Those are the book. They're called book gills because they look like pages in a book.
Yeah.
And neat thing about horseshoe crabs is they can swim, and the way they swim is they flip upside down like this, and they flap those book gills back and forth to propel them forward, almost like rowing a boat.
Oh, so holding them upside down like that is actually not harmful to them.
No, this is completely not harmful at all. This is not harmful at all. He's probably can't sense the bottom, which is right now he's trying to flip himself over because he's feeling a hand is probably an unusual sensation for him.
Yeah.
But I'm completely not doing anything that hurts him or harms him at all. Want to see him go back?
Yep.
All right, let's
do that.
We'll put him back, and then we'll do. Maybe you can get the camera down there. You can see him flip over.
There he goes. And he's happy. So that's the rest of the tank right there.
That is, yeah.
Can you have a pet horseshoe crab? I just saw
No,
that.
so you're actually not allowed to collect them. So if, I'm a believer in investigating, your natural world. If you're walking along the beach, that's how a lot of how I got to do this is I was always picking up crabs and picking up shells and checking them out. So I'm a firm believer that, checking out the world around you is a good thing. As long as you're not disturbing it, as long as you're not destroying it, you shouldn't be harming anything. You should be placing them right back where you found them. You should not be collecting anything like that. If it's an empty shell, you can collect it, but you shouldn't be collecting live animals, live plants. They belong where they are. So I observe, investigate, but do so peacefully and do so in a way that doesn't disrupt the natural habitat.
All right.
A few things before we go. So, of course, we will be back here next week. So important. So important. I want to thank all of our members, all of our supporters who really make this possible. Anyone who's ever gone to LSC.org and donated any amount of money, no matter how small, it is how, even though our doors are closed, that we are able to come to you every single week and do this. It's how we're able to care for all of these animals, feed all these animals, even though our doors are closed, the animals still need to be fed, they still need their care. Our staff does such a great job, and the reason why they're able to do so is because of all the support you've all provided us, so thank you so much. We will be back next week. We're going to go back downstairs to visit some of our other animals next week. I don't want to give too many hints away, but we'll be back with some of our more land-based animals. And we've now been doing these quite a bit. I don't know how many of these we've done. We've been probably at this for a couple months now, right? The past few
About a couple of months.
months. So as we go along, let us know if there's anything you want us to do or want us to see that you haven't had a chance to see yet. Give us some ideas. We're totally open to them. We keep trying to come up with new things to show everybody. But if you have any ideas, let us know. We definitely want to hear it.
All right.
I hope everyone has a fantastic, it's probably close to afternoon, right? It's probably technically morning, so enjoy the very last few minutes of your morning. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, though. We will be back 11 a.m. Wednesday. We hope to see you all there. Till then, everyone continue to stay safe. Enjoy the beautiful weather safely, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.